Hello, children. Welcome once again to the next module of the lesson Microorganisms, Friend and Foe. In the previous session, we concluded our topic with the harmful microorganisms, that is, the disease caused in humans. Yeah, we were learning about the disease caused by the microorganism in humans, which I told you that I'll be telling the symptoms of the various disease caused in humans in detail. So let's move ahead. So children, in the present slide, we'll be discussing the symptoms of few diseases caused in humans by the microorganisms. So the first one is through viruses. Through viruses, we suffer from common cold, flu, chickenpox, smallpox, measles, yeah, and few other diseases which I mentioned in the earlier slide. But in this slide, we'll be discussing only these few diseases. So in common cold, it's a viral infection here of the nose and throat. And the symptoms in common cold is that the person might be having cough, sore throat, a runny nose, as well as nasal congestion. Okay, now this moving to the second one, flu. Flu is also called as influenza. Okay, influenza is caused by a virus named as influenza virus, and the symptoms in flu is what basically the person will be having fever, then muscle ache, cough, then a runny nose, headache, as well as fatigue, that is weakness. Now, the third one is chicken pox. In chicken pox, there are itchy blisters on the body of the patient, yeah, along with fever, tiredness, and this can last for 5 to 7 days. Then in smallpox is caused by a virus named as Varroa virus. Okay, so if someone gets infected with smallpox, it takes 7 to 17 days for the symptoms to develop. So at first, what will happen? A person may have flu-like symptoms, then tiredness, headache, and after the symptoms starts appearing, then what happens? Within 2 to 3 days, rashes develop. Okay, basically on the face, legs, and arms. And these rashes are like red marks that are filled with a liquidy substance, and there is a crust over it. Now the last one is the measles. In measles, the person might have fever, then dry cough, then a runny nose, sore throat with, there are small red spots inside the mouth before the rashes start. Before the rashes develops on their body, that is, firstly it will appear on the face and neck. There are red spots which appear inside the mouth. So these are the few symptoms of these viral diseases. Now children, coming to the bacterial disease, the first one is typhoid. Now typhoid is an infectious bacterial fever, okay, which is caused by consuming contaminated food and water. And the symptoms of typhoid are like high fever, stomach pain, weakness, vomiting, as well as loose motion. Now moving ahead to cholera. Cholera is caused by consuming contaminated water, and in cholera the person might suffer from severe diarrhea as well as dehydration, that is loss of water from the body. Now the third one is tuberculosis, which is also called as TB. In this disease, what happens? The bacteria mainly affects the lungs. Okay, and the symptoms are cough, then loss of appetite due to which there is weight loss, fever, as well as while breathing, the person might have pain in the chest. Now the fourth one is tetanus. Tetanus is also a bacterial disease which affects what? The nervous system. In tetanus, what happens? The nervous system is being affected, and it also leads to painful muscle contraction, particularly in the jaw and neck muscles gets contracted, due to which it gets locked up. So this disease, that is tetanus, is also commonly known as lock jaw. As well as in tetanus, there might be difficulty in breathing also. And the last one is diphtheria. It is an infection of the nose and throat. And the symptoms of diphtheria are sore throat, fever, as well as weakness. Now coming to the protozoal diseases. The first one is malaria. Malaria is transmitted by the bite of infected Anopheles mosquito. The symptoms of malaria are fever, then shivering, sweating, as well as sometimes there might be pain in abdomen or muscles, or the person might also have gastrointestinal problems. Now the second one is Kala Azar. Okay, so this is caused by the bites from female sandflies. Okay, that feeds on the animal and human blood, and this sandfly carries a parasite named as Leishmania. Okay, so when the this sandfly, okay, bites the person, the parasite gets transmitted into the human body or animals, and the common symptoms of this disease is fever, as well as anemia, that's lack of blood, and mostly it affects the internal organs, especially the liver, spleen. And the third one is sleeping sickness. This is caused by tsetse flies. Which flies? Tsetse flies carries the infection, and the infected person may suffer from fever, severe headache, muscle or joint pain, as well as severe weakness. And children, the last disease is caused by fungi, that is the ringworm. It's a skin disease. So it is caused by a type of fungus that eats the keratin, which is present in the skin, scalp, or nail. And it often causes a ring-shaped rash. What does it cause? A ring-shaped rash that is reddish in color, itchy, and scaly. Now, I already told you that microorganisms causes diseases not only in humans, yeah, but also in animals as well as in plants. So there are several microorganisms that infects, certain animals like a cow, buffalo, and poultry birds. For example, anthrax. Anthrax is a, it's a dangerous disease which is being caused both in human as well as in cattle, and it is caused by a bacteria, a rod-shaped bacteria known as Bacillus anthracis, which is found in the soil in the form of spore. So when the spore anyhow enters inside the body of the animal, it infects it, and it is a very dangerous bacteria, and it might be fatal, for the animal. So what happens in this anthrax? Anthrax, uh, the symptoms are like the animal might suffer from fever, then there might be loss of appetite, severe stomach ache, or even sometimes swelling in the neck region. Now there is another viral disease, that's the foot and mouth disease of cattle. As the name implies, that is, this diseases infect their foot as well as the mouth. It's infected by this virus. And one more disease is the bird flu, which is especially found in the poultry birds. So what happens in bird flu? There might be a certain death without any sign of the poultry birds. Then lack of energy and appetite, might be the poultry birds might be suffering from diarrhea, that is loose motion, or there might be a swelling of the head, eyelids, okay, and sometimes there might be a nasal discharge. Now, the disease being caused by the microorganisms in plants. So there are several microorganisms which causes disease in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and there are many other examples of plants. Now the disease, what is the effect of this disease? The diseases reduces the yield of the crops. There is a reduction in the production, but they can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which will kill the microbes. Okay, so let's see in the next slide what are the different diseases caused by the microorganisms in plants. So children, here are few names of plant diseases which are caused by the microorganisms. So the first one is the citrus canker. Yeah, it is a bacterial disease affecting the citrus tree like lime, oranges, grapefruit, etc. And infection causes lesions. Lesions means what? Wound or injury, either on the leaves, stems, or the fruit of the citrus trees. And how it gets transmitted to the other citrus plants? Through air. So what is the mode of transmission of this disease? It is through air. Now the second one is the rust of wheat. So as the name suggests, rusts of wheat, so it is a most common fungal disease caused in wheat as well as other cereal crops. So what happens in this rust of wheat? There are spores. So these spores gets transmitted by wind or through seeds, okay, or through soil. And after what happens when the plants gets infected, after 7 to 15 days, small red dots appear on the leaf or the stem surface, as you can see here in this image. Now the third one is yellow vein mosaic of bhindi, that is okra. It's a viral disease, yeah, and the mode of transmission is through insects. So what happens in this yellow vein mosaic? So as the name suggests, yellow vein, that means the vein becomes yellowish in color. So what is the characteristic symptom of this disease? That is yellowing of the entire network of the veins in the leaf blade. So in what happens in severe infections, the younger leaves also turn yellow and it becomes reduced in size, and the plant is also highly stunted. Means it's very short. The growth is very slow, and the veins of the leaves will be cleared by the virus. Okay, and what happens? The leftover area becomes completely yellow or sometimes whitish in color. So these were the few common plant diseases caused by microorganisms. Now children, after this, one more interesting topic is the food preservation. Yeah? We know that when the food is being cooked or the milk is left in a warm or moist place, what is going to happen if it is left for a long time? It gets spoiled. Yeah. So and how does it get spoiled? It gets spoiled due to microbial contamination. Okay, because of the growth of the microbes. So there are like microorganisms. Okay, there are certain what we say conditions are there in which the microorganisms grow or multiply. Okay, so like for example, when the conditions are dry, when the temperature is very low, or when the temperature is very high. So there are lots of preservation ways are there. Yeah, to preserve the food items, huh? So that it doesn't get spoiled by the microorganisms. So in the coming slides, we are going to study each one in detail. So what is food preservation? Food preservation is a process by which spoilage of food is prevented using either chemical or physical method, or in simple terms we can say that it is a process of slowing down food from becoming bad. Yeah. Now what is the need of preserving the food? Now, besides making the food last longer, preservation also prevents what? Food wastage. Yeah, if we are not able to preserve the food, what will happen? Most of the food will be wasted. Yeah, because of the growth of microorganisms. The next benefit of food preservation is that it allows food to be eaten out of season. For example, mango. I think mango is a favorite fruit of most of the people. Yeah, and it is available only during the summer season, but it can be consumed. That is, its juice, pulp, and even the mango pickles can be consumed out of the season. Yeah, that is in other seasons of the year. So it gives variety and nutrition to our diet all year round. That is not only mango, but there are other fruits as well as vegetables which can be preserved. Yeah, and next is the freeze dried food. They are easy to store and transport it because they are light and they require less space. So what is a freeze dried food? Here the frozen the food is being taken. So it is what? It involves first the freezing the food and then removing all the moisture from the food in a vacuum chamber, and then finally sealing the food in an airtight container. Now, such type of food are preferred by the astronauts as well as by the soldiers. So let's study the various ways of preserving the food. So the most common, okay, or we can say the old way of preserving the food is by the process of salting. So for ages, people have preserved their food like fish and meat by salting. So what's the role played by salt? Salt, when it is applied on any food, it draws out the extra moisture from the food and prevents the growth of the microorganism. So a very common example is like, for example, fresh fish. Okay, first gutted, washed, and then coarse salt is rubbed into it. So what's the meaning of gutted? Means its stomach, the gut has to be removed, then it has to be washed properly, and a coarse salt is being rubbed into it. So what will happen? The moisture, the water content which is present inside the fish body will be absorbed, and it will be, preventing the growth of the microorganisms. Now there are other food items, okay, which is being produced by salting. That is amla, yeah. Then is raw mangoes, tamarind, as well as even eggs, as you can see in this image. A lot of other local foods are preserved by salting process. As you can see here, this was the first one which we had discussed, that is fish. Yeah, the fresh fish is being preserved by the process of salting. Now, the next interesting way of preserving the food is by the process of pickling. So, pickling is what? It's a way, it's a process by which different foods are being used for making pickles. In the process of pickling, food is either preserved in vinegar or any other acids. Here the acids are not the acids which are used in lab, but these are the edible acids like vinegar, yeah, then the citric acid, oxalic acid, malic acid, yeah. Now this makes it difficult for the microorganisms to live. Now commonly pickled food includes what? The soya onions, soya beans, and chilies. Now in pickling, instead of vinegar, sugar can also be used, and sometimes mustard oil is also being used. Now sugar can also be used in pickling process in pickling fruits such as nutmegs, mangoes, and cherries. And sugar also acts or behaves in a similar manner as salt, that is, it draws the extra water from the fruit, thus preventing the growth of the microorganisms. In the present slide, you can see the various pickles being preserved in vinegar or in citrus acid, that is the lemon juice, as well as in mustard oil. Now, the next way of preserving food is by the process of bottling and canning. So in this process, the food is preserved by first heating and then it is sealed in an airtight container which is also sterilized. So due to heating, the microorganisms gets killed as well as uh, it is being sealed in an airtight container so that there is no contact, with the with the outer atmosphere. So this also prevents the growth of the microorganisms from getting in. Now canning. Now this process, as in canning, there is a vacuum being created. Yeah, that is the things which have been canned. Yeah, as you can see here in this image. Yeah, so it has air. So the air is being drawn out. A vacuum has been created, and then the materials are being uh, sealed up in an airtight cans to prevent the reinfection by microorganisms. So this is also called as vacuum packing. In this slide, you can see that there are pulses as well as nuts are there, yeah, as well as dried fruit. So here also vacuum packing is being implemented. So it is commonly used for storing nuts, sliced fish, pickled and dried fruit. Children, the most easiest and the simplest way of preserving food is the process of boiling. So as food is heated and cooked, the heat kills the microorganism and boiling kills most of the bacteria. So, but however, those which are not affected by heat will grow when the conditions are suitable. But this is the most easiest way which is being followed, at home for preservation of various food items which are being left. Children, another efficient way for the preservation of food is the process of drying. Yeah, so a lot of food items are being preserved by drying under the sun. So we know that moisture is one of the main requirements for the microbial growth. Yes, and if the water is being removed, what will happen? The food can be preserved for a longer duration, and the process of removal of water from a substance is called as dehydration. So as a result, what happens? The bacteria, they die or they become inactive when the food is dried. And do you know sun drying is a traditional method of preserving food? You might have observed at home also. Your mother might be, preserving the pulses in the cereals after cleaning, and they are being dried in the sun so that the extra moisture is being removed and it can be preserved for a longer duration. So not only these cereals and pulses, there are a lot of vegetables and fruits are also preserved in this manner, such as raisins, guavas, cauliflower, spinach, fenugreek, and many more. Children, the next method is cooling and freezing. Yeah, cooling and freezing are the most common forms of food preservation, which we all follow at home. Yeah, for preserving of various food items. So actually, what happens? Cooling slows down the action of the microorganism. Thus, it takes longer to spoil. Means it's not like the food won't be spoiled, but after a long duration, the food is going to be spoiled because the growth of the microorganism is, you know it's it's being slowed down. It allows the fruit from the different parts of the world to appear on the supermarket shelves. As you might have seen in malls, there are big, cooling systems are there where various food items, dairy products, vegetables and fruits are being stored. Now at freezing temperature, the microorganism becomes inactive and thus the food cannot spoil when it is frozen. Now, food like meat, fruit, and vegetables are kept in the refrigerator. As we preserve these food items in our refrigerator. Not only these, the various squashes, jams, drinks, yeah, all these are being easily stored in the refrigerator. Now, one more method by which food can be preserved is waxing, that is coating a layer of wax, that is liquid wax. So, waxing of fruits and vegetables is another common method, like apples, oranges, eggplants. Eggplants means brinjal. Tomatoes are dipped into liquid wax to prevent the growth of fungi and loss of moisture. But before consuming such fruits, the fruit or the vegetables has to be washed thoroughly or peeled before eating, because wax are what? These are harmful for our body. Yeah. And the last way which we are going to study that how to preserve food, okay, is pasteurization. Now, by the process of pasteurization, milk products, and various juices are being preserved for a longer time. So, actually, in this process, the food items are being heated, okay, at a certain temperature for a long time, followed by rapid cooling. Okay, now heating at that high temperature kills most of the bacteria, and at the same time it doesn't affect the taste, nor it changes the nutritional value of the food. For example, if we take the example of milk is heated at about 70 degrees Celsius, that is centigrade, for 15 to 30 seconds to kill the bacteria present in it, and then quickly cooling it to 10 degrees Celsius. Just imagine, first heating at 70 degrees Celsius and immediately after, means 15 to 30 seconds after cooling, the temperature is immediately cooled to 10 degrees Celsius to prevent the remaining bacteria from growing. Now the milk is then stored in sterilized bottles or pouches in cold places, and pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling. Why? Because it is free from harmful microorganisms. And do you know who invented this method? This method was invented by Louis Pasteur in the year 1862, and hence the process was named as pasteurization. So in the next slide, we are in the present slide, you can see the various dairy products like fresh milk, yogurt, drink, and various juices. They all are preserved by the process of pasteurization to make them last longer. So here we come to the end of this topic. In the next session, the last topic is left, that is nitrogen cycle. So we'll be learning about that, and after that you have to write the question answers related to this lesson. Few answers I'll be sharing you on school app, which are too difficult or lengthy. Do keep on revising your topics, that is lesson 1 as well as the second topic. Yeah, and if any queries, write in your notebook. We'll be sharing once we meet. Yeah, thank you.